Hello everybody and welcome to my 11.0 survival hunter guide for The War Within Season 1. Voodoo here, of course, obviously more of a Havoc channel, Demon Hunter channel, but I've really been enjoying Survival Hunter. It's so fun. So we're doing a guide. I said I would, and here it is. Should be talent builds for Rated Mythic Plus, rotation, and then everything you need to know, stats, gearing, trinkets, all that stuff to play your Survival Hunter in The War Within Season 1. Now, they did announce that there are changes coming in 11.0.5, which will change a lot of things in this video, but that is not till November. So for the time being, this is what you'll do. In November, it'll be a little different and we'll update it then. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I know it's a bit different from my normal stuff, but I'm loving survival and I probably will have more content about it. But yeah, so before we get to the video, a quick word from our sponsor. Before we get to the rest of the video, a quick word from today's sponsor, and that is Trade Skill Master, otherwise known as TSM. If you've been playing WoW for any length of time, you've probably already heard of TSM, but if you haven't, it's a very powerful add-on designed to help players streamline and optimize their everyday economics. Whether you're a hardcore gold goblin or just a casual raider looking to make a few extra bucks to buy some consumables, TSM truly can help everyone. Utilizing their auction helper tool to streamline your auctions and make sure you're not underselling or overbuying, their crafting queues to help you show what's most profitable to craft and keep track of what you need to craft, so no more running back and forth between the auction house and the crafting orders, or even just the restock feature to tell you when to restock on items when you get low. TSM has a feature for everyone. But that's not all. If you're someone who really wants to take things to the next level, who really wants to take a plunge and wants access to all the data that TSM has, including information on pricing of what to buy and when it's most profitable to sell, then consider a premium TSM package. Use my link in the description for 15% off your first purchase of a premium TSM package and truly take your gold making to the next level and gather a hoard of gold the Dragons of Eldraken would be jealous of. Once again, thank you to TSM for sponsoring the video. Go check them out and use my link in the description. Now, enjoy the rest of the video. So obviously, the very first and most important part of any class in WoW is going to be the talent builds. Now here before you, I have 3 talent builds for you. And of course, I do want to shout out a lot of people who have helped make the research or make the material that I've done for research for these guides. You know, Dualby, Thymine, Azor, all the people from the Survival Hunter Discord. Shout out to them. I will link a lot of their stuff in the description for you to go check out. If you want like a written guide or a place to ask questions, go there. Very helpful people, great place. So before you, we have 3 builds. We'll do the single target one first. So every single one of these builds will be Sentinel. Currently, as it stands, there's just no reason to really play pack leader. It's a little close on single target, pure single target, but it really subverts the rotation. Wouldn't really recommend it. Sentinel, I kind of like it. I like the owl. The only real rotational thing is that you probably want to save a wildfire bomb if Lunar Storm is close to coming off cooldown. So every 15 seconds, your next wildfire bomb summons an owl. So if you have one coming up soon, probably hold the bomb for that. Otherwise, this plays very passively. This is the single target build here. Lot has gone into the rework. I have other videos if you want more details on it, but basically you're taking a lot of the same talents in both AOE and single target. In single target, you're dropping butchery, cleave, stuff like that. You're picking up spearhead and all these things down here, and you're picking up the mongoose bite talents. Otherwise, everything else here is going to be very similar to between this and the Mythic Plus build. You have a lot of bomb damage. You have a brand new coordinate assault, which is just a passive 20% damage, well, not passive, but it's a 20% damage increase when you use it. You're taking the one that makes it better, and your dot package over here as well. Mongoose Bite, very strong for single target. Because of Bloody Claws, you now have kill command, increasing its duration, so it all works pretty well here. Now, there are 2 Mythic Plus ones, one for high keys, one for low keys. And the difference here is going to be burst damage or dot damage. In high keys, this is going to be better. The reason I say high keys is because this plays the thing that spreads around your Serpent Sting, 5 Pieces of Venom, Contagious Reagents. So what this does is whenever you reapply a Serpent Sting, it also spreads it to 2 nearby enemies. So you really want to spread this around and dot the pack. So just keep reapplying this, you know, just keep reapplying it basically, because your Raptor Strike applies Serpent Sting. So as you reapply it, you'll spread it around to 2 targets and 2 targets and 2 targets, which not only will give you more damage, but will also give you more damage or more critical strike damage to that target. So really good dot stuff there. You also pick up Exposed Flank, which is AOE flanking strike, which is pretty good stuff there. It also causes your kill command to cleave, which again gives you more dots from Bloodseeker, which is a bleed. And then finally we also take Merciless Blows, butchery stuff, and just more bomb damage and explosive shot overall. In lower keys, we drop all of the dot stuff, a lot of the bleed stuff, because things die a lot quicker, and we put it all down into changing over this into a 1 minute cooldown. So Symbiotic Adrenaline changes it from a 2 minute to a 1 minute. which is actually pretty good in lower keys. And we also pick up Fury of the Eagle for another shorter cooldown. When you're doing all your damage up front, Fury of the Eagle is pretty good, but if you're in higher keys and stuff like that, it will start to fall off because it's damaged whenever you use it. So damage per execution time is a lot lower than a lot of other stuff. But you know, as you can see, all three builds are fairly similar. You're taking Flanking Strike in every single one. It's a very efficient damaging button that also generates Tip of the Spear, which is your main resource now. You're taking your bleeds in most scenarios, taking Coordinated Assault in all scenarios, and stuff like that. So there you go. Those are your talent builds. Now we'll do a quick little rotational section for each of them. So we're going to start here with the opener. Now the opener is the most important part of your rotation, as it's when you get into your cooldowns, when you do all your stuff, get everything rolling at the start. So it's very important to learn this. Survival Hunter's opener is pretty short, so it's not that many buttons, so it's pretty easy to remember. Before you start though, you'll make sure your pet is not on passive, just have it on assist, and then you want to make sure that you have Hunter's Mark on the target. So it's pretty simple. So what you want to do is do Bomb and Harpoon at the same time to start you off. So we'll do Bomb and Harpoon. Then you're going to use Mongoose Bite, Bomb again, Coordinated Assault, Kill Command, Spearhead, followed by another Bomb, followed by a Flanking Strike, and then Explosive Shot. And that's going to be your opener. Once you're done that, you're moving into the priority system. You're doing this opener just literally to get all your bombs on cooldown, all your tip generators rolling, and your Coordinated Assault going. And from there, you move on to the general priority. The general rotation for Survival Hunter is going to revolve around using your Tip of the Spear stacks. Basically, you have two resources. You have your Tip of the Spear stacks and your focus bar, as well as all your short CDs. So what you want to do is generate Tip of the Spear stacks, not overcap them, generate focus, not overcap it, and don't cap on your long CDs. So it's actually not that bad. So basically what it looks like is, number one thing is that if you're at 2 stacks of bomb, always throw it. So right there, boom, always throw it. If you're above 77 Fury, you want to spend down to it. And once you're under it, you use Kill Command. From there, you want to spend Tip of the Spear on different abilities in order. So the best one to use it on, as long as you're under 2 stacks, is a Flanking Strike. So we'll do that. From there, we're going to spend down again. Then we have more stacks, right? So we use it on Bomb if we're at above 1.7 charges. We'll use it on Explosive Shot after that. So boom, Explosive Shot, then Kill Shot, and then just Bomb at any amount of charges. And there I was wasting some just to show you. But then you get into your main rotation, right? So spend down to under 77, Kill Command, spend it on strong abilities, spend down, make sure we're not overcapping kill commands, boom. Don't want to waste stacks, we'll use it. Don't want to waste stacks, boom, we have another one here, we'll use that. Under 77, we'll use it. Flanking Strike, boom, we'll use it. Nothing else to use it on, so we'll spend it on Mongoose Bites. We're under 77 here, so we can double. We have Bomb, we can use it. We have a Kill Command there, or Mongoose Bite there. Explosive Shot to spend it, and you get the idea here, right? The main loop is Kill Command, Mongoose Bite, and what you want to do every now and then is work in your work in your other abilities. Now, the important thing here is that you also want to be using your Harpoon. So what you want to do with that is that any ability to just kind of strafe out and use a ranged ability at the same time, right? Use so many ranged abilities, you can kind of strafe out a range and come back in without actually missing any globals. So see here, I'm like fully at ranged and it didn't really matter. So whenever you have your Harpoon come up, you want to just kind of flank out, use an ability that's ranged, and then Harpoon back in. So it'll come back up here in a second. So I'll show it. So we're using Bomb and Harpooning back in, and then we're going to get that focus regen. Whenever you come up with your CDs again, you want to just make sure you don't have anything capped here. So I'm not capping on stuff. We're going to use our Spearhead. We're going to use our Bomb. We're going to spend down a bit just so we're not capping. Use our Kill Command again, Flanking Strike, spend it on our Bomb, and just not cap things really. Is the name of the game here for Survival Hunter. So it's a big rotation. There's a little graphic that the people over in the Survival Hunter Discord made. It's very, very useful and basically goes over everything I just said, but in like a very nice flowchart state. I will throw it up. Big shout out to them. Of course, I will link them in the description, but take a look at that. That's kind of going to outline what I just said. And that's just the rotation. You're just doing that cycle of not capping on your cooldowns, doing the cycle of generating focus and not over cap, right? If you're under 77, use Kill Command. If you have a Tip of the Spear stack, use it on Flanking Strike, then Bomb if at almost 2 charges, then Explosive Shot, then Kill Shot, then Bomb. And then if you have nothing else to do, just use Mongoose Bite. So if you're over 77 Fury, no tip stacks, Bomb. Focus. Mongoose Bite. Blah. And there you go. So we're going to talk about the Mythic Plus and AOE rotations now, and the beautiful thing for the opener is that for the high key build, it's literally the exact same as single target. We'll do it again, but it's the exact same thing. The low target build with Fear of the Eagle is a little different, so we'll cover that as well, but should be pretty similar and pretty straightforward. So what you want to do here again, of course, is that you want to start off with a Wildfire Bomb and a Harpoon at the same time. Make sure your pet's on assist. Throw your Hunter's Mark on the target you'll be attacking, generally a priority target or a boss mob, and do the exact same thing we just did, but in AoE. So make sure you're positioned so bomb will hit everything. Bomb and Harpoon, Raptor Strike, bomb again, user coordinated assault. You're going to use a kill command followed by a bomb, followed by a flanking strike, followed by an explosive shot, and from here you're in the general priority. So I'm going to jump over and do the low key opener real quick before we talk about the general priority. Again, it's very similar. Only thing that's going to happen is you're cutting out the kill command after you enter in coordinated assault, because Symbiotic Adrenaline gives you all your tip of the spear stacks, and then you're going to add Fear of the Eagle at the end. So what did it look like? Again, very similar. Make sure you have Hunter's Mark on your priority target. Make sure your pet's not on passive. You're going to bomb and Harpoon at the same time, Raptor Strike, bomb again, use coordinated assault, followed by a bomb, followed by a flanking strike, followed by an explosive shot, and then finally Fury of the Eagle, making sure you're hitting multiple enemies. And that is going to be the opener for the low target build. More burst, but again, much less dot damage and stuff like that. So from there, you're going to go into the general priority. So again, here we are with rotational priority, and it's going to be very similar in AoE than it is in Mythic in single target. The only difference is that you're adding in an extra thing in Butchery. Now what Butchery does is, because of Merciless Blows, means you never really want to do one back to back without Raptor Striking in between. That's really the only new thing being added. Everything else is going to be the same. So you want to make sure you're using Harpoon on cooldown by pairing it with an ability that's in range. So something like Wildfire Bomb and Harpoon. You want to make sure you're not capping on bomb charges, and otherwise making sure you're spending down under 70 Fury, using your kill commands, and then spending Tip of the Spears on the same abilities, right? Number one priority is going to be Flanking Strike, which is on this button now. Then it's going to be Bomb if you're at 1.7 plus charges. Then it's going to be Explosive Shot. And then from there, it's going to be Butchery, which has priority instead of Flanking Strike, instead of Raptor Strike. Everything else is going to be the same, right? It's kill command not to cap, bomb not to cap, making sure you're not capping on focus. But Butchery is going to take more priority than Raptor Strike. Everything else is going to be the exact same. So you're in this bit of a rotation here where you're using kill command to generate, using bomb to spend, using Butchery to fill, never using Butchery twice in a row without using Raptor Strike first, and just using your Tip of the Spears on the appropriate abilities. So making sure that you're using it on Flanking Strike, then Explosive Shot, then Bomb, or bomb if you're about to overcap, and just making sure you're not wasting the AoE spread of your main filler. But again, you see here, same little song and dance, nothing too crazy. In AoE, Butchery is just your kind of priority over pushing Raptor Strike. Otherwise, same thing. And again, there's a flowchart, same flowchart as last time. I will throw it up. It's the same for AoE. So if you want to check that out, if you want like a visual guide to it all, should be on screen. I'll link in the description again. Shout out to Thyman who made it. Oh, and one more thing, quick mention of Fear the Eagle. If you are playing this, you basically just use it as a tip spender. It takes priority over everything except for Flanking Strike and Bomb at 1.7 plus charges. So the priority if you're playing Fear the Eagle would be Flanking Strike first, then Bomb if you're about to overcap, then Fear the Eagle, then Explosive Shot, and then just Bomb if you don't have anything else to spend. And then of course Butchery is the lowest priority. You've done your rotation, you've done your talents. The next thing is going to be stats. Now stats for Survival Hunter is very straightforward. Basically in all scenarios, you're going to want Mastery as your primary stat, as the highest secondary. Mastery is very strong, as they reworked the Mastery for Survival Hunter recently, giving you a damage amp to all of your Hunter abilities, which is like really powerful. It also has a small defensive bonus, although that doesn't scale as you get more stats. After that, Critical Strike is going to be your second best stat. There's a few talents in the tree that scale with Critical Strike. Talents like Serrated Tips, Outland Venom, and most importantly, Flanker's Advantage. The higher crit you have, the more damage Tip of the Spear is going to give your abilities, which makes crit even better. After that, haste and versatility are roughly similar. Haste will make the play cycle feel a little bit better, while versatility is just a passive damage buff and DR. So between those two, it's not really that big of a deal, but they are less priority than Critical Strike and Mastery. The same is true for Mythic Plus and AOE, so you're going to use the same stuff for both scenarios. Next, we're talking about Trinkets. Now, Trinkets are also going to be really simple, as there's not too many you want to get. For Survival Hunter, the main one is going to be Skarden's Grace. This drops from Grim Batol. This trinket is crazy. It's a 2-minute on use that gives you a ton of Mastery, and as we just talked about, Mastery is an insanely strong stat for Survival Hunter. 2 minutes, so it pairs well with your Coordinated Assault windows, and you're going to be using this in both single target, Mythic Plus, Cleave, AoE. You're using this in all scenarios, so pick this up as soon as you can. Go and farm it. Really, really good. For the other slot, there's a choice between 2 passives. Now, the one that's best for pure single target is Void Reaper's Contract from the raid. You don't have the other fist weapon because you can't use fist weapons to take advantage of this, but it's still a very strong single target trinket. However, it doesn't really scale that well into AoE. For AoE, I'd recommend something like Arakara Sack Brood from the Arakara dungeon. This is a passive trinket that just gives you haste, but it also has a very high uptime proc for a ton of agility, which is really, really good because agility is just main stat, and main stat is a ton of damage. So I would grab that one for like Cleave or Mythic Plus scenarios. You also could use the Empowering Crystal of Anubikaj. This is from the other Spider dungeon. This just gives you agility when you equip it, and your spells and abilities have a chance to give you secondary stats. Also very good. I think Egg is probably a little bit better, but would be very close between the two in Cleave or Mythic Plus scenarios. So always use Skarden's Grace, then use the Void Reaper's Contract in single target, or a Sack Brood, or a Empowering Crystal in Mythic Plus. And there you go. For crafting, it's going to be a little different based on how strong your weapon is. If you don't have a high level weapon, then just crafting a spear with Ascension on it is going to be your highest gain by a wide margin. Having a high item level spear is really, really good because as a melee, most of your damage scales off your weapon power and attack power, which comes from a weapon. So I would recommend, even though it costs 2 sparks, crafting that first because it's just such a big gain. In general, embellishments aren't very strong in the War Within. Like, they're fine, they're good, you want to use them, but they're not like crazy strong. So using something like Ascension early on is going to be fine and not really set you too far back. It's going to be about equal to the best weapon, the best spear you can get, which we'll cover in the other crafting set in the other gear section. But just crafting this early is going to be really good. For the other slot, what you want to do is eventually swap over to 2 Dawn Thread lining. Now, at the start of the expansion, you can keep a Nerubian armor patch on like a cloak or something, as that's going to double Ascension. But whenever you can get above 40% uptime on Dawn Thread lining, it's going to become better. So at the start, you want to craft the spear with Ascension. And then once you think you're at the point where you can get 40% uptime, which is pretty reasonable, you want to craft a cloak with Dawn Thread lining and wrists with Dawn Thread lining. Now again, weapon is so strong early that even though it's not the best embellishment, the item level upgrade is going to be worth it. So craft that first, then do your 2 Dawn Thread linings. And if you find yourself in a spot where you can't get that 40% uptime, then using the Nerubian armor patch on like a cloak instead is going to be more damage than Dawn Thread with low uptime. So in terms of other special items, the only real things you need to pay attention to are 2 items. One of them is the very rare ring from the raid, Seal of the Poisoned Pact. This drops from the final boss. It's a very high critical strike ring with minor mastery, which is again really good for Survival Hunter. And what it does is that whenever you deal damage, you have a chance to get a dose of Venomous Potential at 5 stacks. You deal damage to the target, and dealing nature damage is a chance to grant you an additional stack. So obviously, as a Survival Hunter, you do have access to nature damage through your dot, so you do occasionally get extra stacks from this, but even then, it's still just a free passive proc. Full statted ring, and the stats are very, very good for Survival Hunter. The other thing is Harvester's Interdiction. Now, this is a spear that drops from one of the Spider dungeons. Again, it's not like too far ahead of just using Ascension on a crafted weapon. But it is still pretty good. So it's a high verse, low mastery weapon, which is like fine. You still has mastery on it. And basically just has your melee attacks a chance to deal damage, extra shadow damage to the target. Again, pretty good, but if you can't get this to the highest eye level, just crafting a spear is still going to be very good, which is why I recommend it. And finally, we come to consumables. So for consumables, it's going to be just pretty standard stuff. You know, you want to put leech or avoidance on all the things that you can. Use crystalline radiance for your chest. The only major things are going to be ring enchants, gems, and weapon enchants. So for weapon enchants, there's going to be 2. You want to use Authority of the Depths for pure single target. This is the highest single target damaging enchant for Survival Hunter. For AoE, you want to use Stonebound Artistry. So what this does is just a passive mastery proc, which can just proc and give you mastery for 12 seconds. The Authority of the Depths is just like a damaging thing to a single target. Personally, I think Artistry is much more versatile, so I'd probably just use that. But Authority of the Depths is the highest single target one. Outside of that, for rings, you want to use Radiant Mastery. Of course, it just gives you mastery. And then finally, the most important thing is Culminating Blasphemite. So this is a diamond. You can only use one of these. What it does, it gives you primary stat and 0.15, so 0.15% critical strike damage per unique gem. So you want to have one of these and then have one of each different gem type. So one onyx, one emerald, one ruby, one sapphire, and then fill the rest up with deadly onyx, which is the high mastery, low crit gem. Other than that, you want to use like whetstones. You want to use just like the normal feast that gives you secondaries and primaries. And you want to use a flask of alchemical chaos. We're using this because the tempered mastery flask, which just always gives you mastery, A, gives you less stats, and B, just gives you a worse combat potion. We're using tempered potions, which basically just gives you inactive secondary stat potions. So if you're using Flask of Tempered Mastery, you won't get mastery from Tempered Potion. If you're not using it, you'll get every stat instead of just 3. Makes sense that way, but basically it's just because the potions are weird this time around. They're not primary stat, they're secondary stat. So there you go. Otherwise, just like use normal stuff. You can use a mana oil if whetstones are too expensive, and those are your consumables. So there we go. That is my Survival Hunter guide. It's really fun. I've been really enjoying Survival Hunter, but there are going to be some changes coming to it in 11.0.5. Pretty big ones, honestly, which is kind of weird, but we'll just have an update to it when that comes out, I guess. I don't know. It's weird they decided to do that. But again, big thank you to Dual B, Simon, Azor, who did a lot of the back end stuff for the information that I did research on for this guide. A lot of people in Survival Hunter Discord are just absolute G's, so go check them out. Go there if you have any questions. Obviously, you can comment as well. Check out the Wowhead or the Icy Veins guide if you want a written write-up of this stuff. I'll link those in the description as well. And yeah, pretty fun stuff. I've been enjoying it. So again, thank you to TSM for sponsoring the video. Use my code for 15% off. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck in Season 1. There will be more Survival Hunter content, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to help grow the video. And I will see you guys later. So, peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you, Sky Elk, Andrew Keenel, 100,001 Zans, Brad Wisniak, Felfa Darren Dark Terror, and Magic Man 133. Thank you all so much. If you want to help support me and help fund the channels and the videos, follow the link in the description to become a channel member and get some cool perks in the process. Again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.